Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jess and I'm so glad that you guys are joining me today because we are going to be doing another swatch with me. So for my new viewers, welcome, and my returning viewers, welcome back. My name again is Jess. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube as Knit Plan Jess. So you may have seen a previous video where I swatched up all of my Tombow markers, and I mentioned that I wanted to swatch up my Crayola Super Tips. So today we are going to be doing just that. If you're curious for how I do this, because this is a little bit more complicated process, make sure you stay tuned. To start out, I've got some swatch pages already printed up. I have one that is printed and sized for the Happy Planner, and then one that is going to be that's printed and sized for the A5. For the Tombow pages that I showed you how I created, was this one. The one for the A5 was basically printed up at 100%. I did have to change it up though for this color swatch page. And this is not specific to the Crayola Super Tips. I actually had a lot of trouble finding that. And I ended up purchasing this from Etsy. So I will link that down below. But for the A5 notebook, I printed it at 90%. And then I mentioned I also printed one for the Happy Planner, and this one was printed at 84. This one, it was really driving me crazy because, as you see, there's literally no room for the punch. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of finagling, and I'm kind of trying to decide if I want to maybe cut it out this way and cut away from this, or if I want to cut it this way and then do like some paper surgery in order to be able to punch it. I don't know. I have to kind of figure that out. But in the meantime, while I'm kind of deciding on that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I trim it down and fit it to the A5 to the A5 bullet journal notebook. Before we start, I'm kind of going to show you one that I've already cut and glued because I wanted to really test it out. And this is basically what it looks like. So you have 10 rows and then 5 columns. So 10 rows, 5 columns each page. So 10 times 10 gives you 100. And then I just cut out the color swatches, and that's on the side. And then it's just going to be a matter of coloring them in and basically labeling it up 1 through 100. So what I did, because I printed out 2 and they're both different size, I did go ahead and mark HP and A5, so in that way I knew what I was working with. But I am going to be cutting this one out for my A5 notebook that I'm planning on using starting in July. Basically, this is what I'm going to be using. I don't know if I'm going to be using it for my social media or if I'm using it for my regular bujo. I feel like I'm going to be picking it for my regular bujo. But no matter what, it really doesn't matter which one that I have it in. It's going to be beneficial to have it in one of them. So in that way, I'm not always having to reach for my swatch notebook. So what we're going to do first of all is basically trim this down. And like I mentioned, it was falling apart on me. Like I mentioned, this was printed at 90%. So it was not 100% because if I did, it would have been way too big. And I was actually kind of really surprised about that. But what I'm going to do first is basically trim down both sides. And I'm trimming as close as I can get to the circles. For this one, I am not going to use the color swatch label. So that will be trimmed away. And then we're going to do it on the bottom too. I'm only going to be doing one one of the bottoms. I'm not doing the other, but I'm gonna try to space it out the same. And then what you're gonna do, so it's really important to make sure that you cut it in half the right way. Essentially, you have to cut it in half when it's in a horizontal orientation, because if you do vertical, it is not going to fit. It's going to end up kind of going over a little bit. So you have to make sure that the paper is in the horizontal orientation. If it's easier, cut it in half first and then trim down the sides. Or you can do like I do, have it be pure chaos and then just figure out which way that it works. My method works. My method works just fine. And then next step is simply taking your tape runner. I use the Tombow Dots adhesive. That is by far my favorite one to use. And when I actually ended up running out, when I went to put in the other, the swatch guide into the other notebook. So it was like perfect timing, because if I had not have done that, I would have run out while filming. And honestly, I'm really glad that I didn't. So now we're going to do the other side. Oops. For the A5, I did just go ahead and use regular computer paper. For the bullet, or for my happy planner though, I remembered and I used the 32-pound paper. Now what I'm going to be really curious to see is, do the colors slightly vary depending on what pound paper that you use? So like what weight paper do you use? Does it matter? We're going to find out. All right, so now let's go ahead and trim this down. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically trim this to the classic size, but we're going to flip it. So in that way I can be able to punch along this side, and it's going to have a little bit of extra space up here, but that's perfectly fine because of the fact that I want, or I can be able to just write in Crayola Super Tips. Let me grab some classic size paper. I'm going to grab from this notebook. I'm like, where's a notebook with like an extra sheet of paper that I can use? And really, it honestly doesn't matter like what it is from, because all I'm going to be doing with this, oh snap, okay, so I was wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and issue a correction. I ended up reprinting this out on the fly. I actually found that printing it at 84 is going to make it be too big. And it's going to make it be too big horizontally. Or, yeah, like this way. This way. So what I did is I actually reprinted it at 80%. And then this is when I have to get like super, 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 super creative. But basically, I am going to take my classic paper. I'm going to kind of have it like as close to the edge as possible. So then that way I can be able just to simply mark with a pencil. I'm going to do a line on each side of each corner. So in this way, when I go to actually trim down the paper, it will print, or it will trim very nicely. This is a huge pain in the butt. So just be forewarned. Maybe you will find a better Crayola Super Tip color swatch. But this just so happens to be the one that I picked out, and I wish that there was like an official one on the Crayola website, because I'm pretty sure that would have been a lot easier than this. But hey, this is, sometimes you gotta work with what you have. We're going to do this side now. And then I got to do this side. And I've got it lined up at the top and at the bottom. Like that was the littlest bit. Okay, I probably did not have to trim off that one, but I did, and that's okay. And then what I can do actually, because now that I have that, I could realistically take this and trim it down. Take our Tombow adhesive. This is what I'm going to go ahead and do because it's like, to me, whatever, it makes sense. It makes sense. Color swatch, brand, boom. And then really at this point, all you have to do is just take your Happy Planner punch. And so this is the classic size, and the classic size has these white lines at the top and the bottom. So I basically just fit the paper in between there, make sure it's pushed all the way to the back, and boom, 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 boom. That's what I was trying to say. Boom, you have it done. Well, you have it started. It's definitely nowhere close to being done, you guys. And then this way, you can just easily be able to fit it inside of your notebook. All right, so now let's go ahead and actually swatch up the colors. And this is where it's going to get a little complicated. Similar to what I did with my Tombow video, I will plan on speeding it up at certain parts just because this is going to be a lot of time, and honestly, I really don't want to waste that time. All right, so I'm taking all of the warm colors first. That green is going to go in there, and these are not numbered. These have official names. I do not know the names. I'm not going to go through and try to figure out all of the names of these colors and figure out how to match them up. It's not worth my time. So basically what I decided to do is I decided that I am going to be putting these in color order that makes sense to me. So I'm basically starting with the pinks, and then it's going to go to red, orange, yellow, and then after that it will go into like the greens and the blues and etc. etc. So I'm just taking the colors. I could probably put them in a much better order. And also I'm taking out anything that kind of like resembles a brown, because those I want to keep with the browns. And I feel like that's pretty good. So now it's just putting the pinks back in, or making sure that they're in. I'm surprised that there's not a lot more oranges. Like, I'm really, really surprised. And what does get tough is that, like, there are some shades of yellow that I kind of question, like, whether they should be going with it. But I'm going to go ahead and put them with it. So there we go. This is the order that we are doing our pink to yellow. I have both my A5 notebook and I have my Happy Planner page. And basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the color. I'm just going to do fill in like a portion of it. And then I'm going to be counting that as number 1. So I have a couple different Sharpie markers. I have an ultra fine point and a fine point, because basically I just want to put a number 1 on it. And then what else I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to do like all of this part off camera, or at least like the tape part off camera, but I'm just going to be basically putting a piece of tape over it so then that way it won't rub off as I use the pen. And then when I'm going to number these up, it's going to be 1 through 10 and just go on like that. And then that means that I can officially put them back into my bin. Yay! All right, let me go ahead and keep on swatching and I will speed up this video. And we are done. So all of them have been swatched and I have numbered them up. I have not put tape over the numbers, and that's actually going to be something that I think I'm going to recruit my son to do for me, because holy crap, you guys, that was a lot to do. Crayola, I highly doubt you're ever going to watch this video, but if you do, please put numbers and names on the markers. Okay, so as you see, Duke joined us throughout the video and basically took over my desk and fell asleep, and I could not bear to move him. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this into my happy planner. So then that way, also I forgot to mention the next thing to do is I'm going to be taking a Rytec fine liner, and basically I'm going to go through it and I'm going to number them up 1 through 100. Okay, I will be numbering these ones up at a later time. I'm not going to waste any more video of doing that, but yeah. So there we go. My Crayola Super Tips are all numbered up. Now, in hindsight, there were 2 colors that probably should have been with the blue, but in the end, it's not a big deal to me, but I'm really excited now to be able to see the color, and I can be able to associate it with a number that is now on the marker. So we have Happy Planner done, and my bullet journal notebook is done. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy Duke joining us, and you can see just how stinking cute that he is while he sleeps. So if you like this video and you want to see more like it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy the next video.